Chapter 10. My soul is weary of my life. I will give free course to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Make me know wherefore you contendest with me. Is it good unto you that you shouldest oppress, that you shouldest despise the work of your hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Have you eyes of the flesh, or seest you as a man sees? Are your days as the days of a man? Are your years as the man's days? That you inquirest after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin? Although you knowest that I shall not be condemned, and there is none that can deliver out of your hand. Your hands have framed me, and fashioned me together round about, yet you dost destroy me. Remember, I beg you, that you have fashioned me as clay, and wilt you bring me into the dust again? Have you not poured me out as milk, and curdled me like cheese? You have clothed me with skin and flesh, and knit me together with bones and sinews. You have granted me life and favor, and your providence hath preserved my spirit. Yet these things you didst hide in your heart. I know that this is with you. If I sin, then you markest me. You will not acquit me from mine iniquity. If I be wicked, woe unto me. If I be righteous, yet shall I not lift up my head. Being filled with ignominy, and looking upon mine affliction, and if it exalt itself, then you huntest me as a lion, and again you showest yourself marvelous upon me. You renewest your witness against me, and increase your indignation upon me. Host succeeding host against me. Wherefore then have you brought me forth out of the womb? Would that I had perished, and no eye had seen me. I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little, before I go where I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and of the shadow of death, and a land of thick darkness, as darkness itself, a land of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. And we are in a continuance of Job's speaking here. He had begun to speak yesterday. And Job's still in misery. And he has spoken in the power of God, the powers of God, these marvelous acts. They are without number that God have done. All the works are in God's hand, and it's God who does all these things. God can make it come out however he wants, because these are his powers, these are his strengths, his abilities to do this. And we'll find that Job is not contending with God, as they may, if they make claim to this. Job is not contending with God. And he has stated that how can you contend with God? There's no man to contend with God. Nobody can answer God. There's nobody between him and me. See, it's God's work that has done this. God's work set it in order. It's in place. And it is an automatic thing. Job said, though, if he would take his fear away from me, if he would remove all this, and where that I could speak, see, and I would not fear him, I would do this. But this ain't the way it is. And that's where we're picking it up. Job's continuing to speak. Verse 1, my soul is weary of my life. I will give free course to my complaint. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. Job saying, this ain't the way it is. Job is in bitterness. My soul is weary of my life. It's scared now for my life that I'm going to die. My soul, that inward understanding, Job is showing there's a clear separation from the man that is within, from that flesh that is on the outside. And he's going to give free course to his complaint now, because the man on the inside is weary of the death. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul, in this bitterness, even this complaint, this sorrow, that now, too, I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Make me know wherefore you contendest with me. I will say unto God, or this would be my remark if I could, do not condemn me. Do not cast me out or judge me as wicked. Do not judge me as a wicked man. Do not condemn me in this. Make me know wherefore you contendest with me. Make me know, make me understand. Give me, tell me where I err. 3. Is it good unto you that you shouldest oppress, that you shouldest despise the work of your hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Would this be a good thing unto God, that God should oppress, that God should despise the work of his hands, or God's hands, and shine then upon the counsel of the wicked by despising? We're going to find out God had used Job to do his work in the land and pour out abundance. 4. Have you eyes of flesh, or seest you as a man sees? Does God see as the man sees? God sees that man that's on the inside. See, not the man on the outside. And we're going to find out this man on the inside he is suffering. The man on the inside here is suffering, and Job is trying to make that clear. The flesh is causing the suffering or coming against his spirit. Job is making a supplication unto the Lord. God does not see that way, and Job's made it clear that he doesn't know what he would appear to be in front of the Lord. 5. Are your days as the days of a man, or your years as the man's years? Are your days and God's days, even his understandings, as the understandings of a man? No, they're not. God's ways are not our ways. God's ways are not the ways of a man. Or your years as a man's days. It's God's years, even we're talking about the total thereof of days. His greater understandings, even like the man's understandings. No, God's days aren't numbered. God has no numbering even of years. He's eternal. See, that's an eternal and the suggestion of it. 6. That you inquirest after mine iniquity and searchest after my sin. That you, God, would inquire after mine iniquity or my perversions and search after my sin, or come looking for me and in my error. We'll find out the law is an automatic work. 7. Although you know that I shall not be condemned, and there is none that can deliver out of your hand. Although, we'll find out, even God knows that Job's not going to be condemned. He's not going to be held accountable for something that he didn't know he done wrong. See, Job has no understanding of his error. If he has error, he's not going to admit to error because he hasn't, in his understanding, committed any. And Job's not going to give up. He's going to maintain his integrity. And we would find out that God would not condemn you without making it known unto you. And we know this because, see, when we err, there's a little voice inside of us that tells us, you have erred, you have done wrong, you have broken my law. 8. Your hands have framed me and fashioned me together round about, yet you dost destroy me. Your hands have framed me and fashioned me, and God's hands have created us and brought us down, and it's not to destroy us. This would not be God's purpose, to destroy man. This would be, if God did that, he would be making an example for somebody else that we have no knowledge of or wisdom of, and then we would not be held accountable for lack of understanding. But this would not be the case, and God did not bring you forth to be destroyed. 9. Remember, I beg you, that you have fashioned me as clay, and wilt you bring me into the dust again? Remember, now, I beg you. We'll find God, and I beseech you, I ask you, that if you have fashioned me as clay, wilt you bring me into the dust again? And now we find out there's a man within this. The flesh is a vessel, and the vessel was fashioned from clay. And we'll find out. That which is within the vessel is made alive by God. 10. Have you not poured me out as milk and curdled me like cheese? Have you not poured me out as milk? Milk is white, and it's the understanding of milk would be the fat of the land, or the goodness, the plentiness even as milk, and curdled me like cheese. This would be even God's mercy, God's great understanding. That's why the flesh is that the spirit might live within it. It's maybe a second chance. But you have curdled me like cheese. You have dried me up, withered me, and this is to be condensed or contained even. 11. You have clothed me with skin and flesh, and knit me together with bones and sinews. And you have clothed me, or covered me with this skin and this flesh. That is what covers us. And knit me together with bones and sinews. And God held us together. He put us together with bones and muscles. But there is an inner man within it, an understanding even that is made alive by God, and we'll find out. None can deliver from that there. 12. You have granted me life and favor, and your providence has preserved my spirit. You have granted me life and favor, and this favor here is mercy. It's mercy, pity, and your providence, or this is your favor, this is your mercy, this is your kindness, would be a better word here. This is your great kindness. It hath preserved my spirit, and this is even my understanding. 13. Yet these things you did hide in your heart. I know that is with you. And yet these things you did hide in your heart, your understanding, and I know that it is with you. This is God's mercy and His pity. We'll find out this. If God has control of all understanding and knowledge, and God's mercy is mercy. If you've done something wrong, God's going to tell you what you've done wrong, give you a chance to turn. You're going to have knowledge and wisdom. If not, God's kept it from you. If I sin, then you mark me. You wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity. If I sin, you markest me, you make it known. And you will not acquit me from mine iniquity. You will not forgive me from my perversions, my sin, my transgressions. 15. If I be wicked, woe unto me. If I be righteous, yet shall I not lift up my head. Being filled with ignominy, and looking upon mine affliction. If I be wicked, woe unto me, then so be it, judge me. And if I be righteous, yet shall I not lift up my head. I'm not going to exalt myself and make myself great. Being filled with ignominy. And this word here, ignominy, is kolon. If we go look it up, the word would be kolon. And it's to be filled with this shame, filled with dishonor, filled with embarrassment even, looking upon mine affliction. Because we'll find out that he is already humbled, just being in the flesh, and has understanding of that. 16. And if it exalt itself, you huntest me as a lion, and again you showest yourself marvelous upon me. And if it exalt itself, if it stands up in its understanding, you huntest me as a lion, this one who's ready to rip and tear and destroy. And again, you show yourself marvelous upon me. So even if I stand up in my spirit, or even in my understandings and my knowledge, then God comes to slay me, come to hunt me. 17. You renewest your witness against me, and increasest your indignation upon me, host succeeding host against me. You renewest your witness. God makes it known. He keeps it going. God constantly renewing, making his self known against your indignation upon me, and increases your indignation, or make manifold your anger upon me, these hosts against host succeeding host, and it's like an army coming after an army that's against me. So no matter if I turn this way in the flesh, or I turn this way in the spirit, 18, wherefore then have you brought me forth out of the womb? Would that I had perished, and no eye had seen me. Why then have you brought me forth out of the womb? Would that I had perished, and no eye had seen me, no body could have perceived or looked upon. And Job talking about 19, if I should have been as though I had not been, I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. And I should have been as though I had not been. No purpose, there would have been no understanding, no use. But we'll know that would not be the case. And then, because if it would have been, then I should have just been carried from the womb to the grave. From the day I was born to the same day would have been my death. There would have been no purpose in my living if it wouldn't have been for the work of God. For we know God is in the work. 20. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. Are not my days few? And even the days we're here on the earth, these little cycles of darkness and light, see these understandings even we gather. Cease then, and let me alone. Withdraw your hand, withdraw your work, that I may take a comfort a little. This is just to take some comfort from his flesh, because we'll find Job is in great misery because of it. 21, before I go, or I shall not return even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. And this would be before I go, where I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and of the shadow of death. And we'll find Job is in great fear of the grave here. And he has been, and that's what his spirit is saying. I'm afraid I'm going to die. And before I go, where I shall not return. And that's going to be to that land of darkness, to that land where there's no light coming in, of that shadow of death. And that's where that the shadow of death is to come under the shade of it, or the darkness that's caused by it when there's no light. It's a shadow is caused by the absence of a light. The light might be round about, but it's not shining where you're at. You're in the shadow of something, even a shadow of death. 22, a land of thick darkness. That's darkness itself. It's a land of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is, as darkness. A land of thick darkness, a land of great darkness, where there's no light, as darkness itself. It's the absence of this land of the shadow of death, the absence of light, the absence of understanding. Because we'll find out Job has just enough understanding left to call upon God, and as he is falling into this lack of understanding, as his knowledge is fading from him, he's crying out to God for mercy without any order. Where there's no order there, there's no understanding there, there's no knowledge there. And where the light is as darkness, it's just like even the light, these understandings of men, these lesser lights, these things where even it is darkness, even that light is a darkness. And that's what the reference is here, this lesser light that doesn't give its light in that period, and that's where it's darkness. But we're going to move forward to chapter 11. Turn and return.